Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for March 21st, 2021. Well, let's take a look at what happened overnight after our big surging move yesterday based on the FOMC meeting. First off, we have Asian markets mostly higher last night. As a matter of fact, the Nikkei surging up again, up 2.03% or $812. We have Hong Kong also very strong, up 1.93%, $320 move. And only the Shanghai was just a little bit lower, down just 0.08%. European markets are green across the board. However, well, we have kind of a flatness over there with the CAC only up 0.02% and the DAX up only 0.38%. So not moving really strongly in European markets. U.S. markets all green across the board with the NASDAQ surging here in the pre-market. So keep in mind, these can change quite a little bit this morning, but we've got quite a pop going on in those. If we look at bonds, well, this is probably the reason we had a major decline overnight in the 2-year bond, falling to 4.57%. Remarkable. The 10 years holding in there at 4.23%, and the 30-year is at 4.42%. So quite a change here in our bond yields overall. If we take a look at crypto, I've been asked to include crypto on some of this. We've got Bitcoin surging this morning, up 1,200 points, up 1.85% so far this morning, and surging to the upside. But we also have gold is remarkable this morning. Gold is up $50 an ounce this morning. Silver, copper, platinum, and palladium all racing to the upside here in the market. So those defensive type plays, those interest sensitive plays are surging big time here to the upside this morning. So what does all that mean for today? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I do truly appreciate it. Let's settle in. Let's take a look at these charts and see if we can gain a little bit of information about how we may want to approach the market for today and try to shake off a little bit of bias and see what comes next in these charts. So as you can see, the diamonds just went crazy yesterday, up 400 points after the FOMC breaking out. So we've got all-time highs here in the diamonds. So breaking through this resistance to the upside, all we have is blue sky above. And the way the market's been acting, every reason to believe that we could continue to stretch. Now, one thing I have to tell you, chasing a diamonds trade right here adds quite a little bit of risk for that possibility that it could pull back to find some price support here in the chart. And remember, we need to really reestablish an upside trend. So show me that higher low in here to reestablish an upside trend, but very bullish. Now, if the bears were to engage today, then that pullback in here could be substantial, coming back in here to support, breaking down through there, of course. That's where, man, that'd be some big point moves in the diamonds, but certainly does seem possible the way the market's been acting. But keep a close eye on that blue sky above right now in the Dow, and we are pumping it in the pre-market as well. If we take a look at our SPY, new record highs, breaking through resistance here in a strong way to the upside on the spiders. Every reason to believe that that can continue higher with the tech push that we have this morning. Every reason to believe that we can just keep going higher. So blue sky above here in the SPY. If the bears were to find inspiration, well, I'm going to have to make some adjustments here on all of my drawings, as you can see. I would say pulling back into here would be the next opportunity for the SPY if the bears were to engage. Now that'd be a pretty big point move, and if it did come back in here and hold that higher low, then that sets up that next bullish move to the upside. So keep an eye on that. Only the QQQ struggled in here yesterday. Didn't quite make the breakout here in the QQQ, but we're doing it here this morning. So this morning, all-time highs coming here into the NASDAQ for this morning. I would watch that pretty closely. Every reason to believe that we can keep going higher here in the SPY the way this chart looks. If we were, I'm going to get rid of this line and push this one up. If we take a look, we've been very range bound in here, so we've got a good support underneath. If the bears were to engage and push back down, well, we can see there is that support right in here that we would try to catch. If we broke down below that, that would maybe make for a pretty big move and a pullback on the Qs, and that would maybe push us down toward the bottom side of that yesterday's candle. So that would be a little bit ugly on that one, but so far blue sky above here in the NASDAQ, and I think there's every reason to believe the way the market's acting this morning that we're going to pop that and just keep running, at least for a little bit. And then our Russell IWM, big change yesterday in the Russell, surging up strongly, breaking that downtrend here, and now we'll have to see if we can push on up and test this next resistance in the chart. IWM is the only one a long ways away from a new record high, but we could push up and at least test this resistance right here in the chart. This is a big area of price resistance. We'll see if we can push up in there and breach that. We breached it once, just very temporarily, was not able to push through, so watch that carefully. Now, one of the things IWM has been seeing is it suffers a little bit when the rest of the market is moving to the upside because everyone favors tech, and that draws away from the Russell. Perhaps we can find that little bit of boost of energy here to help that in IWM. Now, if we take a look at our VIX really dropped pretty hard yesterday, falling into or coming back down here into this 12 handle of the VIX. There is some price support in here. As you can see, that runs right across. This is a support level that we broke right in through here. We're finding a little bit of price support, and with the bullish move this morning, every reason to believe will continue to fall, and we're breaking that little upside trend that we've been having in the VIX. So no fear here in the market whatsoever, despite the elevation that we're seeing in so many stocks, but watch that closely. And then if we take a look at our T2122, let's get to our T2122, the 4-week new high, new low ratio is showing us that we're in a bearish reversal zone and we're gapping higher this morning. So we're going to be having this indicator probably pegged out here today, about as high as that can go. So watch for that potential reversal. If we get anything that inspires the bears, watch for that potential pullback here in the market today, because we are very, very stretched out overall. If the bulls, again, if they can find that inspiration, well, there it is. That's as far as it can go. Remember, 4-week new high and new low ratio, it cannot go past 100. And if the bears were to find inspiration in here, boy, we've opened a big opportunity for a big pullback if those bears were to engage. I'm not saying they will, but watch carefully for that. If we take a look at our T2107, excuse me, let's go with T2108. The percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average, big change here yesterday as well. Super hard surge to the upside, as you can see, breaking through some resistance here in that chart, stretching on up to some new recent highs. So the bulls are definitely in control there. If we were to pull back, we've got support levels in here So no particular worries on T2108. Everything changed yesterday. Very, very bullish, and you can see we might even start stretching up here toward these highs. Now, once we get up here, we get very, very frothy in the market, and there's not much opportunity. Well, there's opportunity above that, but we have that high risk of an overstretched market in a pullback. If we take a look at our T2107 also broke through resistance yesterday, breaking higher, and once we start pushing up into this area, we get very, very frothy, and we could be up here first thing this morning the way the market's acting. So watch that carefully here, maybe pushing these limits too quickly on the upside. So watch that, but very bullish, and we've got some good support levels if we pull back. So bulls are definitely in control here. And then if we take a look at our T2101, well, I got to tell you guys, this one still gives me some concern. Notice our market breadth, absolute market breadth remains very low. Now, by the end of the day, we got this little tiny hook on it that would suggest that possibility that we could start pushing back up there in that T2101. But I got to tell you, seeing breadth this low in the market as we're racing to the upside, it would appear to me that we have a very, very frothy market. And that possibility, if we stumble at all, be ready for some big point whipsaws back to the downside here in the market, because we're pricing stocks to perfection and beyond, and that creates some problems, just kind of like we saw at the end of 2022 when all of a sudden we topped out and things really started to come back down. So watch that closely. Now, if we take a look at our economic calendar here for today, well, we don't escape today. We still have some things to deal with on that economic calendar this morning. So first off, as you can see, we're going to have the jobless claims here this morning. Of course, that has been very, very strong, and they're still suggesting only about 209,000 on that jobless claims. I think someday we're going to see a big bump up in that, but we'll want to watch that closely. We got a Philly Fed manufacturing that's still expected to come in at a negative 5.0. We don't care about manufacturing as long as we have tech. We don't care that we make anything anymore. Current account numbers here this morning, they're looking for that to come in a little higher deficit at 209 billion this morning. We've got a PMI flash and showing everything in here just above that 50 area where we're seeing tiny little bit of growth in the composite, the manufacturing, and the services index. And then we're going to have existing home sales. They're looking at those to decline just a little bit, which probably doesn't surprise anyone, and that would be just simply because rates have gone higher here recently, so we probably saw a little bit of a pullback in those. 3.9 million is what they're looking for there. We've got leading indicators this morning. They're looking for that to come in at a negative 0.3, which is an improvement over the negative 0.4. And then we've got a natural gas report. Down here, we've got some bond auctions. We've got a Fed member Barr will be speaking, a 10-year tips, and then the Fed balance sheet at the end of the day, which doubt anybody's going to pay attention to. And then if we look at Friday, well, Friday's going to be an interesting day. Boy, all of those Fed speakers come out from their blackout period, and they got a lot to say. So we have a full meal deal here on Friday of Fed speak, including Jerome Powell, and we know that can create volatility in that Baker Hughes rig count in there. So be prepared for that heading into Friday. So let's take a look at our earnings calendar here for today. In our earnings calendar, we do have some notables here that we want to be paying attention to this morning. We've got ASO. I've got ASO on the list. ACN on that list. That's getting a kind of a nasty little pop and drop here in the pre-market. We've got Darden Restaurants in here. Looks like they're pulling back just a little tiny bit after their report. DBI, wow, that's a big old pop and drop as well on designer brands. Keep an eye on that. FDS fact sheet reporting. Looks like that tried to move up and has pulled back a little bit on its earnings report. We have SCV Shoe Carnival. No report there that I can see. No pre-market price action just yet. TITN will be reporting, and then we've got WGO that will be reporting this morning. Now this afternoon we have our most notables will be this afternoon. First off, we're going to hear from FedEx this afternoon, and we're going to hear from Nike this afternoon. So make sure you're paying attention to those heading into the close of the day. We will also get a report from Air, get a report from Lulu, and we're going to have WS on that list today. So some steel. Now, just kind of keep in mind, we can see some volatility around these reports, and there are more reports out there than what I've covered in the most notable, but those what I believe to be the most notable for today. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button here on YouTube, and also click the bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor, that would be click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. Helps the channel to continue to grow. Thank you so much. Yesterday there was a nice group of folks commenting. That helps a lot. Thank you everyone for doing that. I truly appreciate it. And as you know, I try to answer all of those. So if there's questions or things that I can help with, feel free to do that. And suggestions about the video also help. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But remember, these aren't any kind of recommendations for a buy or sell or anything like that. Make sure you do your own due diligence, follow your trading rules, be very, very careful in this market. We're quite an emotional market, and we could see substantial point whipsaws when we get this emotional overall in the market. So be prepared for some volatility. That said, let's take a look at some of these stocks. You guys know I've been talking about this TEVA for a while, and it's been stuck in this really tight range bound chop here in the market. But yesterday got a nice little pop, and we're trying to follow through here in the pre-market this morning. So keep an eye on TEVA. With the bullishness that we have in the market, there's every reason to believe it could draw this right up through that level and continue to push that higher. So I would keep an eye on that. If we take a look, CVS, if you guys know, I've been mentioning this, breaking that downtrend here in the chart. Nice little move. Now I think this needs a little bit of a rest, consolidation of some kind, or pullback. So look for that support maybe right across in here, get a little rest, and then we would look for that next opportunity in here along the trend someplace. Keep an eye on CVS. Sure liking some of the oil sector right way options. We were in APA. This has popped up. We took a 25% gain on this yesterday. I just closed half the position and then sold some calls against the remaining position, but looking good. We're seeing a lot of oil and gas stocks really stretching to the upside. Let's go to Devon. There we go. Devon, beautiful upside trend here in Devon Energy, breaking through some resistance. A little rest or pullback would set up an opportunity there. If we look at Occidental, really strong break here, move to the upside. Oil has been looking really good. And then when you look at some of the refiners out there, Valero, my goodness, ripping to the upside, needs a rest or pullback. Halliburton showing all kinds of bullishness here, probably again needs a rest, some kind of a pullback in here to set up the next opportunity, but we're getting lots of bullishness here in those oil sector stocks. Now remember, these are inflationary, so as we move toward our core PCE number, I think it's next week, this could be an interesting thing. We could see that core PCE moving up just as a factor of all of our energy costs moving to the upside here. And you've probably been noticing that at the pump. Take a look at some other places here in the market. First off, if we take a look at the financial sector, my goodness, financial sector just took off like a rocket yesterday on that news from the Fed, breaking through resistance. Every reason to believe that those financials will return to the upside. And although we're getting all of these stories about some major problems in the regional banking, just a huge surge yesterday on the regional bank up here testing the downtrend. Everybody seems pretty happy with everything in the market. I think there's some cracks starting to show out there, but right now no one's paying attention to that. We're just very, very bullish overall, so keep an eye on that. Now I've got to mention what is happening in some of these precious metals. My goodness, gold took off yesterday and it's gapping higher again this morning. So keep an eye on gold, keep an eye on silver. Silver breaking through a pretty substantial resistance area here in the chart yesterday. Now clearly we have some more resistance up here to deal with that may be coming into play as early as today, but any rest or pullback in here I would be watching for that opportunity in silver. Now you could take a look, if you look at PHYS, this would give you a physical gold, or PSLV would give you a physical silver ETF that you could trade. I tend to like these better than the paper gold and silver, but certainly those are opportunities. And then take a look at anything in the mining sector. My goodness, take a look at FCX. Big popping move yesterday. Nice little pop out. This thing has been running hard to the upside, and as you can see, we're making some big efforts to pop some new resistance levels here in copper. Take a look at steel. Take a look at Steel Dynamics breaking through up here. We're going to possibly see CLF break out here. Nice push there in CLF. You can look at stocks like MT. Hasn't been performing all that well here in the market, but could get a boost here. This is a little bit of a higher low coming into play here on MT, so keep an eye on that. How about aluminum? Alcoa looking good. As a matter of fact, looking here in Alcoa for potential upside move. Looks like a good potential opportunity in that chart, maybe pushing to the next resistance. Beautiful setup here in aluminum. If we take a look at palladium, I've been talking about palladium here for a bit. Nice little hold in there. It popped at the yesterday, little hammer, little follow through. Watch for that opportunity for palladium to maybe push on through to the upside. Also keep an eye on things in the ag sector of the market. As you guys know, I've been talking about soybeans. Soybeans looking good and had a big surge yesterday to the upside. That is a beautiful chart in soybeans. Keep an eye on any of those ag-related stocks out there. Stocks like ADM breaking downtrends, needs a little rest or pullback. You can look at the agribusiness ETF MOO. That had a good surge yesterday to the upside and maybe starting to sneak out from under here. So we've got a lot of things going on. Take a look at corn. Corn could be setting up to the upside. Lots of strength in those food-related stocks here in the market, so watch them close. So there's quite a few things for you to look at today. Be kind of careful here with the big moves that we had today. We could have some volatility come into the market. I would not rule out the possibility of a whipsaw, but who knows? We might be able to just follow right on through to the upside with this enthusiasm and keep that enthusiasm going right through the end of the week. No reason to believe that that's not possible. Oh, one thing I wanted to also mention is you might want to take a look at TLT. If our bond yields are going to really start falling and collapse here, watch for that potential here in some of these bond funds. TLT could hold this support, break through that downtrend here. on a good move here in these bonds, pulling back on those yields. So watch those pretty closely. So with that, everyone, I want to wish you all the very, very best. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you right back here bright and early Friday morning. Have an awesome day, everyone.